Dr. Remy. They're all around you. Their eyes are... They're looking at you with something that you don't understand. It's not pity. It's not quite fear. They don't seem to know what to do with you, how to treat you. The rag and bone crew that you've been traveling with now for a number of months did everything that they could. They protected both you and Sinnott while you held up inside of the old truck stop. They barricaded you in and allowed you to do everything you could to save your son. The 3-year-old boy had contracted measles from Sinnott. It's a simple thing, something that you, as a doctor, should be able to fix, to cure. But you can't. You don't have the resources necessary. And while all of this rag and bone crew, despite being with the two of you for such a short amount of time, all of them spent this time out in the world trying desperately to trade. The CB radios were on fire with urgent messages seeking any sort of vaccine that could be available to anyone, that could be brought back to you. Had anyone been able to synthesize a measles vaccine? You know now that they hadn't. And it was too late. They all look at you in this sort of lost way, confused, as you walk up to the small mound of dirt. It's only about 3 feet long. There's a wooden plaque there. It's been inset into the ground. Someone has taken the time to carve it for you. Someone has found the words that they thought most definitely were appropriate in this moment for the loss of a child, but to you, they're a blur. Everything around you is a blur. These faces seem to melt together. These people, they don't seem to even be people anymore. Just other things that are standing around you, like the jagged ruins of the buildings and the old burnt-out gas pumps not too far away. The ruin and rusted wrecks of the semi-trucks and trailers. And here in this field, in the spring, there's a scattering of pretty little yellow flowers that blow gently in the breeze. Sinnott is standing there at this plaque. The words on it say, "Our son, far too bright for this world." Sinnott, it's been hard. She's completely shut you out. It was like this almost immediately. Once it happened, it was like a door had slammed shut, and whatever tethered the two of you together, it seems like it was lost. There's been this void, this gulf between the two of you. An empty sense of loss and longing that cannot easily be described. It's just a void. One that's much darker and deeper than anything you've felt before. And you've done everything that you can to honor your son, to use the skills that you learned from your stepfather, to put your child to rest in a way that he deserves. Dignity in death. You see her now. Remy, would you please describe yourself as you approach this grave?
Remy hasn't slept in weeks, maybe. Just little bits of naps here and there. Her eyes are purple. Her face is puffy. Crying from not sleeping, not eating. Her hair's a mess. And she looks like she's lost a lot of weight. Because she hasn't taken care of herself. And she's standing there by the grave. She's not moving. But it seems like she sort of sways once in a while. There's just not a lot of energy left in her body.
Senate. Everyone's here. The varied, scraggly members of this rag and bone group are as clean as you've ever seen them. Hats are removed, beards are brushed out, but effectively, your son's grave is surrounded by strangers. Strangers and Remy. What do you do?
Senate begins to step forward. First looking to Remy, wondering if he should take her hand, invite her forward, and stalls for a second or two and then thinks otherwise. Puts his attention back on the strangers that are here. I want to thank you all for being here and for your help, for your effort.
But it didn't matter anyway. We're stuck in this place without the things that we need to live.
Death can happen at any time, at any place. We all know this.
It's supposed to end.
Please, Remy, can I just have this? Please.
Do whatever you want.
I'd like to speak to the people gathered here about our son.
Do what you will.
Will you be here with me? Will you say a few words?
I'm standing right here.
I reach out my hand at this point.
I turn. I cross my hands. Say your piece then.
It is impossible to understand the kind of loss when losing your own child. Death can happen at any time, any day, especially in this world. Andy, my son, you have been taken far too soon. But even in your short life, you have given such a light to the world. And I want you to know that you were loved.
But love won't save us, will it?
It can, Remy.
It won't. If this is going to mean anything, then maybe it just means we should take it as a sign. The way we're living, what we have here, it's not enough. Sure, we can die violently, through the Romeros. Sure, we can survive in little bits here and there, but this isn't life. We can't even survive our normal human conditions. We have a cure for this exists. And we need to get back to there. We need to re-find our humanity.
Remy, you don't have to work right now. This is just for us.
Everything means something. It has to.
Thank you all for being here. If you don't mind, I'd like to be alone with my family for a moment.
Everyone filters away, leaving the two of you standing before this grave.
Remy, can you just please?
I'm being realistic.
Can you just set that aside for a moment and just be here with me and our son? Can you give me the chance to grieve? Can you be in that space with me? I miss him. And I miss you. And I know that nothing will ever be the same again between us because of what happened, but can you please just give me this?
I guess. Yeah, I mean, I had more time to grieve than you. That's true. You were the one who was sick first. And I know it's not your fault. I know none of this meant... I don't know, everything should mean something, but this doesn't mean anything.
This doesn't. Life is hard and death comes. And it's unforgiving. But this moment right now it's for those that are left behind. It's for us. I need it. It's for me. If you don't need it, can you at least accept that I need it? And will you share this with me? We can sort through the rest of it later.
Okay. But he's gone.
He is. But his memory isn't. Our hopes of who he could have been is still with us. And we're still here.
We're still here.
Remy, you have me. I'm still here.
I just don't know if that's enough.
It's never gonna be enough. I get it. I'm not asking for it to be enough. I just want you to let me be here. Let it not be enough. Can we just let it not be enough for both of us together?
Sure.
And although you said sure in that moment, as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, and one rag and bone crew turned into another, you and Sinnott were separated by a great aisle of pain and loss. And the two of you carried it with you, like weights around your neck. Now he's gone too. And you realize, Remy, how much you weren't alone. How different the world was with him in it. How you had been saved by him and his presence. And how much time you wasted in your grief. Hidden in an underground laboratory beneath the Pittsburgh Zoo, what remains of it, all of you have found yourself extracted from the Nero encampment. Dr. Banerjee has played a very, very deep game of chess, carefully moving and choosing individuals to form this group. A mixture of researchers, doctors, military specialists, and advisors, all the components necessary for an endgame that no one quite understands yet. But the facility that you find yourself in is state-of-the-art. The ruins of the zoo above you have rusted and worn down into the jagged teeth of what they once were. A playground overtaken by the plants and the wilderness that has crept back into this part of the city. However, due to the peculiar placement of the zoo, there is some shelter against the revenants that swarm and hoard through the majority of what once was Pittsburgh. It is secluded by a number of long, tall stone walls, and while battered over time, they have stood. Inside, lush, green forest has taken over the parking lots and all of the varied sites within the zoo itself. It's almost winter. The leaves are changing. The air is cold. Soon it will snow, and winter will descend upon this place. But in this underground laboratory, this group has been given everything it needs to survive. Agent Mirren, you have questions, of course, about your situation, I'm sure.
So that neurotoxin that I was injected with to even get me here, I ever get that antidote?
Dr. Banerjee used some non-traditional coercion to bring you into the fold of this project,
He dosed my bourbon.
Indeed he did. Knowing your loyalty to Project Nero, he felt that this was the most expedited means of securing your loyalty to him. Now, apparently, given the instructions that you have, Dr. Victor Ramos can administer any sort of remedy to this neural toxin that has been introduced into your body. Do you wish to find Dr. Victor Ramos to acquire said antidote?
In just a second, I do have a couple of other questions.
Very well.
That was a lot that we went through before that last mission. Are there any survival points, perhaps a gestalt level that I can add into my kit?
Everyone who escaped together on that helicopter receives 200 survival points. Now, in addition, you are within what is now your stronghold. Currently, you have taken on leadership of that stronghold. For the time being, many of the choices of operations will be placed within your hands. You will be making the decisions, Agent Mirren, as far as how and where resources will be allocated. I'm giving you an additional 500 survival points. You can either share them with the group, keep them yourself, or allocate them to the individuals that have been assigned to you. The other Spectre agents, the military force that is under your command, or the researchers that are working alongside the doctors here to maintain and pursue whatever the motives of this place actually are. Now, you may be in charge of the daily operations. However, the research itself is under the direct supervision of Dr. Victor Ramos. Dr. Ramos, I'm giving you an additional 100 survival points that you can use to facilitate specifically that research. There are already a number of specialized tools at your disposal. Agent Mirren, I've already given you a very valuable crate filled with experimental Spectre armor, new weaponry, There are only 3 sets of it. You've taken 1, of course. And you have 2 others that you may assign. That is outside of the survival point allocation that I've given you. Do you have further questions?
Well, I'm just leader of this big little stronghold underground. It just kind of seems like there would be a possible competency point allocation that should happen with something like that.
We've discussed this, and as you are the leader of this group, I will be giving you 3 additional competency points.
Did that hurt?
It did. I wouldn't taunt me, though. 3 additional competency points that you can either allocate to others within your commands or use yourself. As long as you have at least radio contact, you'll be able to do so. And that is only effective within the stronghold. Once you are outside of the perimeter of the stronghold itself, these points are not available to you.
Look at that. 3 competency points, 500 survival points. Wow, there's a whole lot of reasons for me not to die. You know? It's good, because all that's just going to go disappear bye-bye if anything really bad happens to me. Oh.
I appreciate the fact that you're threatening everyone at the table with your death.
I have
You're
no
learning.
ill will. This guy.
Now, Agent Mirren, there are already things that are taking place around you. Research has begun, and a number of the researchers that are present here have begun to unpack their various crates that were taken from the encampment. Not everything was saved from that mission, unfortunately, but the majority of what you were asked to tag and bring along were. There are a number of large glass containers that contain strange fruit-like plants that are suspended in some sort of embryonic fluid. They're connected to various wires, and as some of you overheard last session, they seem to be emanating brain waves, similar to that of a human being in REM sleep. They're currently being monitored, and you can hear the beeping of these computers throughout the entire facility as they are monitoring these strange life forms as they're being contained there. There are other cargo containers that hold specimens and subjects, lots of frozen revenant parts. There are 3 full corpses that were retrieved, and a cargo container that you know of that has all of the upgraded weapons and armor that we spoke about. You have a number of individuals under your direct supervision, Spectre agents that will do as you ask. They have currently been securing the facility. What would you like to do now?
Of those Spectre agents, who would I have that has the most loyalty to me, has spent the most time?
Strangely enough, you've never worked with any of them. It seems as though Dr. Banerjee was careful to assemble a group that had very little previous recollection or ties to one another. You will notice, though, make a detect motives roll, actually, and I'll tell you more.
So that's 4 degrees of failure.
You know exactly who amongst your troops that you trust, unless you would like to spend some competency points.
No, I don't trust anybody.
The person that you have perhaps been around the most and seen the most of, though you don't have a good read on them yet, is Spectre Agent Alpha 5. Called
With the
5.
bright green eyes.
Bright green eyes, short, dark, curly hair, light brown skin, and extremely skilled. Has been very clear about a deep dislike for Victor Ramos. Reasons have yet to be fully explored as to why that is.
Well, if someone feels passionate about someone, can always utilize that. Okay. Well, first things first, I'm going to take 100 of those survival points allocated to me. I'm going to grab one of those eggheads and have them, while I stand over them with a gun, test all of my food and my drink for the next 3 months. And I'm going to, once that's tested, squirrel that away and put that under lock and key. Because I am not eating the same food as everybody else. Not anymore.
Understood. You can do so. Merrick Young is probably the best option for any of the researchers that are currently within the facility for you to find to do this. Merrick is a nebbish younger man, sector-born, secluded, but also apparently terrified by you.
Oh, he's smart then.
He is intelligent, although his mouth tends to get him into more trouble than not. So Merrick will run these tests for you. Does seem put out because Merrick was running very important tests on the strange organisms that had been collected, but
These are very important
yeah,
tests.
doesn't question your orders and breaks away. Victor, you do notice that research has stopped for a period of time, but I'm going to go ahead and make a roll, and I will tell you exactly how that resolves itself. Despite everything that you've come to know of Merrick, it's apparent to you that even under threat of violence, he's very, very good at what he does. And he's very clear about explaining to you what those steps are, and your food and your water, the portions that you've allocated to yourself, are clean.
Okay, well, I give him a little slap on the butt, if he consents, and send him on his way, and I go ahead and squirrel my stuff away under lock and key. And then I'm going to have to go and see Vicky.
All right. You put your food away, your special, very specific allocation of food away, and you've marked off the survival points for that, correct?
I have.
All right. And so then you go throughout this facility. It is large. You have all been assigned a room. They feel almost like observation cells. However, the locks on the door are currently not operable, with the exception of one wing. We'll deal with that in a minute. However, all of you do have quarters that you can choose to use as you see fit. There are also plenty of spaces open for other individuals as they come along. The quarters that you're given contain a cot, a desk and a chair, a partition, a personal toilet and a wash basin with running water, and a series of lockers that are keyed. You can program them by your own fingerprints, so you are able to use them as you see fit. You move through this facility, you walk past all of these housing units, and Victor, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you are?
Well, I am leaving my quarters on my way back to the lab, and I've been working on doing some research on a number of things. So if I encounter Agent Mirren on the way, or if I encounter Agent Mirren in the lab, I don't know when Agent Mirren runs into me, but that's...
You're walking through the lab
life.
as Agent Mirren enters. The two of you find each other.
Great. Well, hello.
Ooh, we have some very important unfinished business.
Oh, yes, always. I have a very, very busy itinerary, so why don't
Okay,
you come
it's
with me?
not that. It's an actual medical thing.
Well, isn't it all a little medical? Come with me. Let's talk in my lab. I'm going to lead her in, and I have my data pad. What is it that you need?
Well, I didn't do all of this. I'm not an altruist. I think that's the term. I didn't do this out of the goodness of my heart. Having the tracer ripped out of my neck, having to herd all of you up and all of these supplies and all these resources to be underneath in this stronghold. I didn't do that out of the goodness of my heart. I don't have a heart.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky, I was dosed with a neurotoxin by Dr. Shivam Banerjee.
Yes.
And I need that antidote now.
Well, I have to synthesize the antidote before I can administer it, which is one of the
You-
projects that I'm working on.
You have so many tubes over here, like tubes and liquid and
Mhm.
all that. You're telling me you don't have
I don't
that
have
here?
it yet. I have the recipe for it, and it's synthesizing, but it takes some
Are
time.
you lying to me?
I am not. What good is lying to you going to do me?
I don't know. What would?
Come with me. Let me show you. If you need proof, something to establish some trust between us, which is I'm to be honest not sure why you need that. I haven't really done anything to cross you, at least to break your trust. I know I get on your nerves, but look, Mirren.
You still have amnesia about the nest then?
What about the nest?
Well, that answers that. Go ahead, show me your nerd.
Do you know
stuff.
something about the nest that I don't know?
I read the redacted reports before they were redacted, let's say. I know just about everything there was to know about your actions at the nest. Maybe you'll be a little quick synthesizing that antidote for me then.
I can't.
You can't.
If you want it done right, then it has to take the time that it takes. But listen, Mirren, look, I know that you're here against your will. I'm not exactly here under the circumstances that are the most ideal for me. But here we are.
Oh, stop. You know that you love this. You've got all these resources and your stainless steel and
Right.
your corpses and your little frozen
Oh, I
fruit
do. This
things.
is a wonderland for me, absolutely. But what is it that is missing? True freedom. Why do you think I wanted out of the original Project Nero anyway? Why do you think I created this serums?
Okay, now you're starting to sound like the Vicky I know.
Well, good,
What-
because
what
you know what? We
is
should really
there-
cut the
there-
shit and just be us, because it's just us here.
Is it? You don't know what Dr. Banerjee has
No, I
put in here.
don't.
You
I
don't know what
don't.
bugs could be in here.
I don't. You're right. Things are different here. And the sooner we accept that, and the sooner we start working together with a common goal, then the better off we're going to be.
Your conversation is interrupted as Dr. Remy walks into the room.
How's it going? You two still fighting?
Always.
We don't have fights. Little spats.
Mm-hmm.
If we had a fight, I'd knock your ass out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We need to talk about the work that we're doing, Dr. Remy.
Sure.
I'm going to lead Dr. Remy. You're welcome to come, of course, because there's nothing to hide.
As long as you prioritize that antidote. Do I need to have Alpha 5 come in here
No.
and help give you a
No.
pair of extra hands?
Mirren, please don't use that monster to threaten me.
Uh-huh. You know,
You don't need
I
it.
think deep down inside, she's a little sweet on you, and
Yeah,
that's what
well,
it is.
That must be what
Like-
it is, but...
You know, after she cranks that neck, she'll give you a little kiss on your forehead.
Mhm. We know who's in control. You don't have to rub it in. Keep her away from me.
You done?
I've been done.
Yeah.
So,
You can see that Victor is not healing as well as he could be. He's doing his best to shoulder the bullet wound that he's still carrying in his shoulder, the one that you saved him from. He's moving with some amount of pain. You can tell that he's on painkillers, probably self-administered. Agent Mirren seems to be just fine.
on the subject of serums and synthesizing, if you could give me a list of the benefits you want your juice to give you, because I'm synthesizing that as well.
Oh,
You know, whatever it is that you think is going to be of the utmost benefit to our soldiers, given where we are and what we might be up against, let me know and I'll keep that in mind.
See, just when I start to get ticked at you, you just tap into my love language, Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
And for 50 survival points apiece, you can synthesize whichever of those serums you choose to synthesize.
I'll put that in there.
I'll put that in.
You're putting in both
50 each.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you'll have 2 choices.
Great.
Okay.
You come up with one, I come up with one. And then in that moment, like, I think a surge of the pain of my situation hits me. Doctor, I think I need a little...
Yeah, we should take care of that. It's not really feeling the way you're running
Right.
around, and you kind of need a rest.
We all need rest, don't we?
Is there something wrong with him? I mean, besides the usual?
I lift up my shirt so Mirren can see whatever is...
Well, you're currently in a
underneath it.
containment suit.
Oh,
Wish to open it?
No. I know better.
All of you did expose yourself when you removed the trackers,
Mm-hmm.
or you who have been out of
I've
your
been
suit for a
exposed.
while. So it's up to you as to whether or not you're existing within your suits or not. Remy is not in a suit.
I think at this point I'm just kind of like, fuck it. The protocols here are clearly not the same as they were in the old Project Nero. And I will unzip and expose whatever is bandaged up, whatever that wound is looking like, since we're going to end up having to take
It's
a look at it
been
anyway.
weeping. It's perhaps infected.
Oh.
There's red and yellow stains across the bandages. You know exactly what that means, but you've pushed through it. In fact, you've given yourself so many different sedatives that you've barely noticed how bad off you really are.
Ooh, that looks...
You were nearly killed, and you've just gone through a fairly strenuous situation. On top of all that, I will remind everybody that you have removed your trackers, and according to Project Nero, you're all dead. So any need to try to isolate or to remove yourself for the protection of those who you might return to is gone. You have nothing to go back to. This is your home. Even if you were to return now, you would probably be killed on sight.
So are we taking care of that, or are we not taking care of it?
I-
Because
Why didn't you
I
say that it was like that?
Well, I guess I haven't noticed it getting so bad, but yes, can we please take care of it? That would be...
I mean, not that I care, but if you break down all the way, who's going to do the research?
Exactly. I'm very useful to you right now. Lots of unfinished projects with a lot of potential.
I'm the one who started this. I can finish it, but I'd like for it not to get worse. It was pretty much the sacrifice of my entire party to save you.
I appreciate that sacrifice.
Were you with people? Were they a good team?
Yes. They're all gone now. Your Project Nero took care of that.
Well, our squads are very effective.
It's a good thing
But
we're
then
not
it was
Project
just-
Nero anymore.
It was just a bunch of river people, though, I mean, I assume your group wasn't part of the river people.
We weren't, but they were still destroyed.
Well, it's not that our squads could tell the difference between who was river and who wasn't. Small talk is so hard.
It is, yes. Sometimes it's better to not talk at all.
Well, I mean,
Do you want me to help him or not? Or should I
Yes.
just let him go?
oh no, go, please do your thing. Obviously, the doctor can't doctor himself. It's really good that we have you here.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to prop myself up on whatever, bed or station we have to conduct this.
There are a number of examination tables. There are some tables that have been specifically outfitted to perform autopsies. You're sitting on one of those. There are drains everywhere, tools. You're familiar with all of this, but this is more of a specific intake room for any sort of subjects that you might wish to know more about.
Great.
The more medical sections of the complex are further in. But you can do the work here if you want.
It's fine for me.
Oh, Mirren, one of the things that I'm working on is a better understanding on and I'll look up and down and point at the suit. that Mirren is wearing, that new Spectre suit.
Mm.
I have
Isn't
noticed
it spiffy?
it is, but do you know?
No,
much
I
about it?
just know that it feels lighter than our other suits, but it's a whole lot. And Mira just like kind of knocks on her chest, but it feels a whole lot tougher too as well. And I don't know, even the air smells cleaner in here. It's this whole thing.
Great.
It's amazing that I have 2 more sets of these.
Right.
I
I'd
just
like
have to decide who I'm going to give those 2 sets to.
Well, before you get too far ahead of yourself, maybe it's better to understand the suit before you continue to wear it so gleefully, considering that the person that provided it to you is the person that put you in this situation in the first place. So if you think it is prudent, I'm happy to, with the help of some of the people working here with me, Dr. Remy, it might be a good idea for us to take a look at one of those suits.
Mirren did not think about this entire time and immediately tries to take the helmet off.
You remove the helmet.
And it's just like looking at it in her hands and like looking in it, see if there does this look like it's been dosed with anything?
I can't tell, but I'd like to take a look and see what this is about.
Let me do a detect motives real quick.
Sure.
Okay, it's basically a wash. I got a 56, and my detect motives is a 55.
Would you like to spend any of that newfound competency to change that, or are you just going to write out the wash?
I think he knew exactly what he was doing with hitting her paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna let this ride.
I don't think that Mirren has any true understanding, but you are paranoid, and everyone's out to get you. This is no different.
Well, like I said, I have 2 other sets, so
I just need one.
go ahead and take this helmet real quick. Or
I don't even need
you're
this
not
one.
asking me to just take it all off,
No.
are you, Vicky?
Oh, no, not in front of company. But I just need one, Mirren. I just want one. It doesn't have to be the one that you're wearing. I just want one.
No, it can be this one. I'm wearing clothes underneath this.
Then I'll take this one. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, please.
While you take the armor off and leave it for Victor to study, Dr. Remy, you begin the work of caring for the doctor here, who has grossly ignored his wounds during this endeavor. So you have a lot of work to do. I'd like for you to make an advanced medicine roll. You're going to have to resuture everything as all of the stitches have broken. And you're going to have to excise some of the flesh as it is clearly infected.
I know the maximum is 5 successes, but that's 6 somehow.
Well, you didn't get 6 because it is impossible, but I will give you an additional competency point that you can use later.
Okay.
And the operation is a full success. You are in minor discomfort during this entire time, and in fact, very little sedative has been used. It's clear to you that Dr. Remy is one of the best doctors that you have ever worked with, and she's been in the wild. She hasn't had the advantages of Nero. You didn't realize this before. You thought that maybe she just was some sort of hedge doctor living out in the wild that had some sort of importance to Banerjee, but now you understand. She's a genius.
Wow.
Just keep the bandage on. I don't have to do this again. It's a waste of time.
Why can't you be more like that? I mean, should I treat doctors?
Agent 5 appears in the doorway. Agent Mirren, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have a situation. Would you come with me, please?
Absolutely. I'm sure the both of you can manage to, well, not, whatever. Let's go.
The two of you walk down the hallway. The two of you are alone for a moment. What happens?
Dr. Remy.
What are we really doing here?
Well, I will tell you, of course. I have nothing to hide. This is a lab where we are seeking to understand the virus, its continued evolution, and of course, this is where we hope to synthesize the ultimate cure and perhaps even a vaccine. I can see why you've been brought here. You're exceptional.
Well, they weren't even looking for me before.
Oh, no. Just because you didn't think that they were looking for you doesn't mean that they weren't looking for you.
Okay, so I was being hunted. They found me. They killed my family, my friends, dragged me here.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Am I supposed to be grateful? Am I supposed to be super helpful now?
No. I'm not going to tell you what you should be. All I'm going to do is lay out the facts. And what I might hope in terms of your ability and contribution. I am truly sorry for your loss. And I am sorry for the carelessness of my colleague. She does not have a very smooth way with words. But here we are. This lab is at your disposal. Have you thought further about our conversations? About your usefulness, about your work here and the potential for it?
I know that, for one, you're not going to let me leave.
No, none of us can.
Right. There's no way to live in the outside world, is there, for you?
Well, we shall see. The trajectory of our plans, of course, will continue to evolve, much like the virus has, but...
The second thing is, I'm not an idiot. I can see what you have here is more advanced than anything that I've cobbled together on my own. I had my own lab once, but it was just a ramshackle bits and pieces, and we were hiding my research as well.
What was your research? What was your goal?
Well, first it was just trying to reproduce vaccines, the ones we used to have in the old world. But I'm sure facility already has those, just laying around.
We have some. Would you like to see them?
Might just kill me right now, actually, so no. But I'll take it on your word that you have them. But after finding the girl, Starburst, some things have changed. If there's a way to fix this, to fix our world, I know rationally I should be taking it. I don't want to. I'd rather leave. But again, you're not going to let me.
Right. So how about we make the best out of our situation? Put our heads together and see what we can come up with.
The sad part is that I really don't have anywhere else to go. So I'll stay and I'll work. But...
Dr. Remy, nobody here has anywhere else to go.
I don't know if that's true. What about the others you brought here with us?
Well, they might think they have somewhere else to go, but they truly don't. They're captives here just as much as anyone else.
I think you should let them leave if they want to leave.
It's not up to me.
You know they're gonna try to escape or try to destroy this place or try to kill someone. That's what humans do.
Do you mean those that are on our team, or do you mean those that we are doing some research on?
Anybody who wants to leave will do what they can to survive.
Maybe we should, let's table this conversation for a moment. I want to give you a little bit of a walkthrough in case you need to provide, let me rephrase that, in case some of your own expertise might shed some light on what we have going on here.
You say that, and the capuchin monkey that has been traveling with you, Remy, Meg, the last survivor of your rag and bone group, has been quietly eating this granola bar in a corner. It's wrapped in a strange metal wrapper, part of the Nero rations that have been given. It drops it, jumps across the room, and starts tapping on a monitor.
Oh, no. Wait. Can you make sure that things are delicate here? I don't want this monkey of yours to damage any of our
Okay,
equipment.
Meg, come here.
Jumps onto your shoulder,
Oh, God. Okay.
and you look over at the monitor, and you notice other specters walking in through a hallway within the facility. Specters that you don't recognize. There's a research agent with them as well, in all of the armor that you're familiar with, but worn, battered.
Oh.
DT. You're sitting in your room. You've been here now for a few hours. They've done what they promised. The doors aren't locked. They don't seem to be trying to hold you inside of the cell. You found some clothing that they left for you. Simple white jumpsuit. You put it on, and you've been moving through the room, looking at all the simple things here. But that whole time, you've been connected to Kane. The two of you share that connection, that space. You can feel her presence. You know that she's only a few rooms down. Kane, what are you thinking?
I'm not thinking much of anything. I spend a lot of time alone here by myself, and a lot of that is just kind of the idle, contented thought that comes with just being alone and being used to it. So there are a few thoughts that break in every once in a while. My own name, DT's face specifically, and those get held on to very tightly, as if I'm afraid of losing them.
DT, it's clear that Kane is missing much of her memory. There's a peace to it, sort of a sanctuary, a calmness that you don't wholly dislike. But it's also sad. It feels empty. What do you do?
DT's going to take a second in the room and just make sure that the room is secure and there's no trick happening, that they're not trying to hold her.
You've opened and closed the door 7 times. It hasn't locked yet.
Then she's going to leave the room and try to find where Kane is located.
You know exactly where that is. You walk down the hallways. You see a few of those soldiers in the strange armor. Black, glossy, with the skull faces. Very intimidating. But they don't stop you. They watch you. They see where you're going. But they don't stop you. And you walk down to the cell where Kane is being held. It's on the far end. It's glass door, glass wall. You see the little living area. It's fairly large. There's a partition, private area for the toilet, a cot, a little writing desk stacked with what look like books and other things. And then you see Kane. Kane, what are you doing? Would you describe yourself, please?
Kane is a, as we saw before, young woman, short hair, wearing the same white jumpsuit that DT is now wearing, and I am lying in the middle of the floor, just really idly messing with a wooden puzzle. Kind of in the same way as before. It's clear that this is something that I'm very used to.
DT would like to try to connect to Kane and not speak out loud.
Despite perhaps your best effort, all you'd been able to do was mute this connection. You've been connected the whole time, so all you have to do is let go. Do you let go?
Yeah.
There's a rush of sensation, and you know that DT is close. Immediately, Kane.
I look out and see DT at the window. Hi.
Hi, Kane. Do you remember anything?
I know you.
That's good. Do you know how long you've been here?
Time gets a little strange. But at least 30. Something in there. I'm really, really happy to know you. You don't seem as happy.
I am happy. It's just hard after everything they've done. Is there anyone else here? Have you seen it? Any of the others?
What others? Do you
haven't
know
seen any
others?
other patients? Any other research patients?
No. Who? You say others like we knew others.
We did.
Who were they?
We had friends. The children. My sister. You remember Sugar Ray?
I know that name.
Yes, and you can help me find her. And we can both leave. We can leave this place.
I mean, I'm sure that they can help you find her here. They're very helpful people.
I don't think they can. I don't think they want to. You don't want to leave? You don't want to see what's out there?
I don't even know what's out there, and I know it's in here, and I know that they're helping me, and they're teaching me how to read.
Does that matter? We don't need that anymore.
It's just fun, I guess.
Fun doesn't matter anymore. You don't have anyone. You're stuck in this box.
You're not stuck. And I don't. I'm not stuck. I want to be here.
Fine. But I'm going to leave.
No.
I have to. If Sugar's not here, I have to leave.
Oh, okay.
And that means you're coming with me or you're staying here.
Yeah, okay. I have to figure out some things, but I'll come with you.
Okay. You have never seen any other patients here?
Not anyone who looks like me except the doctors.
That's okay.
You still feel the others in the cells around Kane. There are 2 currently. 2 children, far gone. You hear them softly groaning, and you can feel their eyes on you. And Kane, you can see them looking directly at DT.
Those are looking at you.
Yes. They're children. They're not gonna hurt us. They're here to help us. They can help us out there.
They're looking at you in a different way than they look at other people.
What do you mean?
Do you know them?
I know them as they are now. I didn't know them before, but that doesn't mean they're not still there.
What have I been told about these things across from me?
They are sick, and that this place is trying to help them. These are dangerous, and they have to be contained this way or destroyed. They're too far gone, but they need to be studied so that they could be understood. Certainly, they're not treated like people.
Well, I think that I don't think that they're going to help us in any way.
What do you mean? You laugh?
They're just really sick.
They're not sick. They're just different. Yeah, they've been changed. They can't talk like us. But again, what does that matter? If I can talk to them, then it's fine.
You just know so much, and I feel like you're all the pieces together, and I keep trying to put these How did we know each other?
We met a while back at another place. It was sort of like another facility.
Okay.
You actually hated me at first.
I don't hate anyone. Sorry.
It doesn't matter anymore. They're all gone. I don't know where anyone is. But you helped me. And that's all that matters. And I helped you. And you and Sugar, you're the only things I have now. I thought you were gone too.
I'm really sorry. I'm gonna try to remember. I want to remember. I want you to have things.
You're different too now, Kane.
Agent Mirren, 5 takes you through the corridors and waits until you're a good distance away from the others. You don't have your helmet anymore. You don't have armor on. Agent 5 stops. We have outsiders that have approached the facility. They have the codes, and they've entered. Other specters, and a research scientist. They gave us their call signs, and that they were working with Dr. Banerjee. They said that they were autonomous of our unit, and that they would be administering the necessary services to the current subject within our holding.
And which subject? We have a number.
The strange young woman.
The one that's supposed to be immune?
No, the deaf one.
Oh, Project Icarus. I think
Icarus, yes.
she calls
that's
herself
what they
something different, though.
That's what they called her.
Kane. She calls herself Kane.
I don't think that they know that. They referred to her as Icarus, and they said that they were here to administer appropriate services to maintain the subject's well-being, and they said that they would be coming and going as they saw fit.
As they saw fit.
I am not of a sufficient rank to argue. Perhaps you could.
Yes, why don't you take me to our new guests, and let's just figure this out. Because they can't just come in. What, they think this is a Holiday Inn? You don't just come in and whenever you want to.
They had all the codes, but yes, Agent Mirren, would you like for me to buy you some time so that you can suit up?
Oh.
Or would you like to proceed as is?
I'm not 100% certain that the suits that Banerjee gave us are... but status means more than being completely sure right now. Buy me some time. I'm going to put one of the other suits on.
So you go back to where those containers are. You take one of the other suits and you start to suit up. And
Yeah.
there are digital readouts that you can like change so that it shows your ranking and your call sign and all of that.
Change it to Special Agent in Charge, Mirren.
So be it. You change it to that. As far as you know, no one has ever given you that title, but you've taken it, and now it's yours. You are preparing to go and talk with the others, and 5 is out there doing their best to keep them busy. However, DT, as you and Kane are there, there's a strange wave of pain that kind of washes over you. It's like a headache, a migraine that rises up out of nowhere, and you immediately feel like you need to break contact with Kane, and everything goes dark for both of you. You can't hear each other anymore. You're looking at one another, but that connection doesn't seem to be there.
Kind of press my hand up against the glass and furrow my brow and
DT's just gonna put her hand up.
Hello there. The voice behind you calls out, DT.
DT will turn slowly.
There is a woman in the same white researcher armor that you've seen moving about the facility, but you don't recognize her face. Her eyes are very, very piercing. They're blue. Everything else about her seems so average. But those eyes, they find you right away. She looks at you with compassion. You aren't in a cell.
You're not supposed to be in one.
No, of course not. No one's supposed to be in a cell. But sometimes, it's what's best for everyone.
That's not what was promised. I'm not a subject anymore.
I understand that. You are. You're so much more. We're glad you're here. There are 2 armored people behind her that are just standing by the door. The same black armor with the skulls. However, this armor looks like it's been badly damaged. It's aged. Not properly cared for. Her armor is also pretty rugged. It looks like it's seen better days, but it all seems to be functioning. She takes a couple steps towards you. Do you do anything?
Yeah, DT's gonna step back.
You
and say,
step
yes.
up against the glass wall. Kane, you're right there. You know this doctor. It's Dr. Abilene Hayworth. I don't want you to be frightened of me. I'm a doctor and a psychologist. I am here to help. What's your name?
You're not here to help. You're just here to tear us apart. You can talk to Mirren, Agent Mirren. They promised it would not be in a cell.
My agents are speaking with Agent Mirren now, and I promise you, this will all be sorted out.
Okay, then I can walk back to my room on my own.
You can. She steps aside. You have to walk past the 2 armored figures, though, do you?
Yeah, she'll walk past them, but if she can, when she walks, she wants to turn around and walk backwards so she can keep her eyes on them.
They watch you. And you pass through the doorway. And they don't do anything. But you can hear their breath in their armor. And there's that weird headache that just washes over you as you step out into the hallway. And as you look back, you see Kane standing there and this woman looking at you, smiling. We'll talk soon, you and I.
DT's just going to ignore her.
Dr. Hayworth smiles. She's been teaching you to read. She points over to the book that's on your nightstand. Motions for you to get it.
I reach for it and grab it.
There's a passage that she's been working on with you. You know that she's been interested in ensuring that you have the tools necessary, and this reading was something that has given the two of you purpose to work together, like the puzzles that she provides. Read it to us, please.
If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life, for life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond, and like seeds dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountain top, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance.
We'll be right back. Agent Mirren, you've made your way out into the main containment hall.
Special agent in charge, Mirren.
Special agent in charge, Mirren. You've made your way out into the main containment area right before the bulk of the laboratory. There are 3 Spectre agents standing there. Their armor leaves something to be desired. It's worn, damaged. They've seen a lot of action. Seems like they've been in the field for quite some time, but while it does seem to be functional, it's far from in perfect working order. The sergeant in front of you steps forward. I'm Agent Sai. You are looking at your armor, then looking back at you. Special Agent Mirren.
In charge.
In charge, yes, of course. We appreciate you allowing us to move through this facility. As has been stated to the other Spectre, we are undertaking a mission directly from Dr. Banerjee. We'll be operating independently of your unit.
Okay, well, I know that Dr. Banerjee put me in charge of, this base. And it would have been a really good thing, and actually following orders, if as soon as you arrived at this base and had knowledge of me, then you would report to me as opposed to going straight to the containment cells. This is usually the way that things are done, is it not, Agent Sai?
To be honest, Special Agent in Charge Mirren, this is an abnormality in our cycle. We've been out here for quite some time. The subject that we're caring for is of the utmost importance. Of course, you understand that Dr. Banerjee has given us autonomy for a specific reason. That can't be compromised. If it were, the subject that we are caring for could be compromised. That would mean that the entire location, this unit, this base, this site, this facility, this research would be compromised. And of course, that we can't allow.
So then what you are saying to me, Sergeant Sai, what you are saying to me is that you are not going to follow the order of command, and that your unit is going to waltz in and out whenever you want, but also because of the autonomy of your mission, you will not be staying for water or drink. You will come in, you will do what you do, and then you will leave. Is that what you're saying?
It seems that you have it correct, Special Agent in Charge Mirren. We will be coming and going and offering absolutely no inconveniences to you, your unit, or the work that you're doing. We appreciate the same consideration.
Great. Why don't you tell me the other members of your squad? And apparently there is a research technician with you as well. Go ahead and give me their name too.
Well, the research technician is Abilene Hayworth. This is my second in command, Tao. And then rattles through the rest of the agents. You have a full series of call signs. As this conversation is happening and Agent Sai is doing what you requested, DT, you walk into the space. The doors open and you see the strange young wildling that you've brought with you.
The hell are you doing over here?
The agents stop and turn. Their hands are on their weapons, though they do not raise them. They look to Agent Sai, and Agent Sai holds a hand to hold.
I know I didn't explicitly say it, and perhaps I should have, but this, remember we were talking about areas that were off limits for you? This is one of them, along with the labs. That's part of our trust. I don't lock your door. You don't go into areas that are off limits to you, which is this.
Then why do I have doctors coming to me to put me in a cell?
What are you talking about? Not a single one of my doctors have come anywhere near you. Although you should get checked out, and I see you put fresh clothes on, but you know, bathing is a thing.
Hayward?
That is not one of my doctors. Dr. Hayworth, which I just found out about them myself, is from an autonomous unit, which means that they are not under my direct command, nor in the chain of command, as I am not within theirs.
I trust you to deal with them. I kept up my part of the bargain. I'm continuing to. And it's getting real tiring.
Okay. Our bargain was, I don't lock your door, I don't put you in a cell. We have conversations, we see if you can be part of an effective team. And if you have issue with that, and obviously staying outside of areas that are off limits to you. And if you have issue with that, then, you can just, go on by your lonesome out. But then any intel that we get about your sister, you won't be here to hear it. That was my understanding of our deal.
Fine. I want to search for my sister, and then I'm going to leave. But I'm not going to be put in a cage while I'm here.
I would not be the person to do that. But because of this unit that is, like I said, not under my command, it would be good if you stayed out of areas that they would be in, which is all of the off-limits areas. Sometimes it's a good thing to not be there.
I'm trying to be real patient, but if you can talk to them, or tell me who to talk to.
Lil Shug, maybe you should just head over to the commissary, get yourself some food or something like that, and I'll have a conversation. But I just don't think that you should let them be too aware of you. Okay? If that makes sense.
Just make it happen.
How about you go and get yourself a sandwich?
DT's going to walk away before she gets too upset.
The other agents are just standing there. They have relaxed their hold on their weapons. Agent Sai looks to you.
Well, I would very much like to meet your Dr. Hayworth.
I'm certain that can be done.
Great. And Mirren's gonna walk straight through to where DT was.
You start walking that way, and Sai steps in front of you. I'm afraid the doctor is currently seeing to their duties with the subject. Once the doctor's done, I'll let them know that you need to speak with them immediately. Is that understood? Agent in charge, Mirren?
Special agent in charge, Mirren. Sergeant Sai.
I apologize.
So is there, in very loud voice, booming in the corridor, is there a Dr. Abilene Hayworth that wants to come have a conversation before things get really rough over here?
You notice now that 5 is standing behind you, along with some of your other specters, and it's a bit of a standoff. You're pretty evenly gunned. Agent 5, behind you. Is there anything that you need, Special Agent in charge, Mirren?
Well, I'm hoping that Dr. Abilene Hayworth comes over for a little chat. That's the only thing that I need.
I hope so, too. The last time that you were angry, it wasn't very pretty. It'd be a mistake for them to ignore this request.
And I said it so nicely, too.
That's correct. You did. Agent Sai looks to you again. I'll radio the doctor. If you could just wait here, please.
It's all common courtesy. Go right ahead, Sergeant.
The sergeant steps away. The others are standing there. It's very tense in this room. Through the glass, you can see the other researchers have stopped working in the laboratories and are just sort of watching all this unfold. A moment later, the sergeant returns. The doctor's on the way.
Fantastic.
Kane, halfway through your lesson, as you've been given the metal container with the drink spout on the top that contains the protein mixture that they've been feeding you. So you've been eating and reading, and while all that's been happening, the doctor stops, listens, and you can tell that they're listening to something in their in-ear monitor. And she walks out quickly, making her way down the hallway. You're left alone. The door is locked behind you. Immediately, there's a rush. DT, your headache, it's gone, and you feel Kane again. The presence, she's there. As you're walking back through the hallways, where are you going?
I'm going to try to go back to Kane.
You walk past the doctor, Abilene Hayworth, as she smiles at you. The entire time she walks past you. But doesn't stop. Doesn't try to stop you.
DT's going to ignore her and keep walking to Kane.
You brush past quickly. And you see Kane. Behind the glass. Metal container. Some sort of drink container there. Books laid out in front of her. The two of you are able to converse without speaking again.
DT's going to put her hand up to the glass and see if she wants to talk.
Hi.
Did the doctor say anything?
Sorry, just weird. Yeah, we talked about you all a little bit, and I read. It's really strange. I couldn't hear you.
I couldn't hear you either. It has something to do with them. I'm telling you, they're not good people.
She's been helping me.
Helping you read? What else have they helped with?
Well, she says that if I read and I try to engage my mind, that's how my memory is going to come back. So they're helping me with. I don't think that she couldn't be. She couldn't be why that. Do you think that she's why that happened?
Why you lost your memories?
No, I no. Why I couldn't hear you.
I don't understand what it was. She seems normal.
She's very nice.
But we don't know what they're working on in here. We don't know what they're doing to us.
They're not doing anything to me. They don't put anything in me, or...
Do you
They're
know
just
that?
helping. They're just helping.
What if they have connections like us? What if they're not using it in nice ways, Kane? I'm going to leave one way or another. You can decide if you're going to come or not.
I'm coming with you. I just have to talk to her about
You
it.
can't tell her? Kane, they could kill us.
They wouldn't kill me. They
You're
don't have any
nothing to them.
reason to kill me. I'm not. They've helped me this entire time. But why would they?
Because you're just a science experiment. They don't care.
Just let me ask. I won't say that we're trying to leave. I won't say that we're trying to go anywhere. I won't even talk about you. Just let me ask why they have me here. 'Cause I think they're helping, and they haven't hurt me.
I wish I could make you realize. I'm sorry, Kane.
Don't apologize. And she places her hand up on the glass. It's okay.
I don't know if I can help you. You don't understand.
Don't just tell me they're wrong. Help me understand why they're wrong then.
You're an animal in a cage. They're just going to experiment on you until you're dead. This is your only life. You got a second chance at life, and this is the way you're going to live it? You were dead before this. You were gone. You shouldn't be here, okay?
What?
I don't know what they did. I don't know what you decided to do or why I can talk to you right now, but you shouldn't be able to do this. I want you to be able to experience life. I want you to have a real family.
I feel like if I died, I would remember that. I can't be... Maybe I got really hurt or something, but I'm here and I'm talking to you. I'm still here, so...
If you want to stay here, that's fine. I'm going to look for my sister and I'm going to leave.
I'll figure it out. You're the first reason that I've remembered anything, so I really don't want to lose track of you.
I don't want to lose track of you either. I don't even know if my sister's out there, and you may be the only thing that I have left. But I have to keep looking.
Did she wear bracelets?
Yeah, she did.
Nice. Just don't leave without telling me when you're doing it, okay?
It's fine. But when I'm leaving, I'm leaving. And I'll take out whoever's in my way.
Yeah.
Dr. Remy, you and Dr. Ramos are currently in the laboratory. What do you do when you notice that these outsiders have entered into the complex?
Are these yours? These people?
I've never seen them before. So, nope.
So this is bad.
Well, it can't be good. So, I guess we should be ready for anything.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to where I have the serums that I have and kind of get ready for anything. Gonna gather some of the ones that I've synthesized already, and I'm gonna put on that suit.
All right. You suit up. You fill a case with the most immediate serums that you have ready. A lot of amplifiers, boosters.
And I'm gonna go check on the plants.
Before we part, I notice you're packing up like serums and things, and I just kind of yell over, if we are really leaving, grab the vaccines you talked about. I'm gonna go check on the girl.
I will see you there.
Fine. Come on. Was her name Megan? Helen? Megan? Yeah, alright. Just can you walk and get off me? And I kind of just lead the monkey with me. And I'm trying to head towards where, if I know where DT's room is.
Yeah, you start moving in that direction, and we'll come back to you. Victor, you make your way through the hallways, and you step into a very tense moment. It's quiet. There are probably about 7 specters lining the walls of this entry room, sort of an alcove that enters into the rest of the complex. Some of them are standing by one door. Agent Mirren and everyone else is standing by another. Clear division between the room. You walk in behind Agent Mirren.
So does that mean that I'm the 4th person on this side, and we're looking at 4 others?
Yes.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to our humble abode.
Dr. Ramos.
Agent Mirren. Yes. Can I help you with, anything?
Well, right now we are waiting for a Dr. Abilene Hayworth to come and grace us with the pleasure of her company. But if that doesn't happen, then maybe there should be cocktails had by all.
Copy that. I'm going to look at the person, the specter on their side that looks to be in the position of authority.
Yeah, there's a sergeant. You can tell from the designation on their armor, Psi Ot 1.
Sergeant Psi. And is it apparent to me that their specter armor has been worn out a little bit?
Yes.
Sergeant Psi, I'm one of the doctors here. Do you have a field doctor in your squad?
No response. Looks to you, Agent Merritt.
I can see that things are a little bit tense here, but I'll have you know that I take my part in all of this very seriously. Do you mind if I take a look at you to make sure that everything is okay?
That isn't necessary, Doctor. Thank you for your time. We are autonomous of your unit. You should save your administrations for those who need it.
It looks like you might.
Dr.
From
Ramos.
what you look like. Yes, Agent Mirren?
The Hippocratic Oath is not in practice here. This squad is separate from us. They will not have food. They would not have drink. They would not have medicine while they are here.
If that
They've
is their
made
choice.
that very clear to me.
If
We are
you-
simply just going to have an accord with each other, with their head in command, which appears to be Dr. Hayworth, and then we will be going our separate ways.
At that, the door opens, and the woman with the very piercing blue eyes enters into the room. Hello. I apologize for the rudeness. We do owe you an apology. You're Special Agent in Charge Mirren, I see.
Yes, I am. You're Dr. Abilene Hayworth, I presume.
Yes, that's correct. Things are a little rough. My unit and I have been through quite a bit. The subject that we're caring for, Icarus, it's of vital importance. I'm sure you understand, we didn't mean to step on any toes here. We'll do better in the future.
And, I mean, it's good to not just walk into someone's home, leave your shoes on, and drag mud across the floor, but...
That's understandable, but you did just arrive. You've been here for less than a week from our data, and we were very hurriedly informed of what the situation was from our resources in the field. So again, we apologize.
I appreciate your apology. Can we have a little bit of a conversation outside of mixed company?
As you wish.
Alpha 5, can you just make sure that this hallway stays the way that it is? You know, who knows what might happen with these walls crumbling in or something. So.
Affirmative.
Dr. Ramos?
Yes.
Would you like to accompany me? Because if there is science speak, then you can translate it for me.
I am happy to accompany you.
Sergeant Sai, you'll be joining me, of course, as my personal liaison. I'm required to move with an agent at all times. You can understand.
This sergeant is... You can be open to conversation in front of this person?
Absolutely.
All right, then. How about we step back into there and let's just get to know each other a little.
Thank you so much for your hospitality.
It is time for your regular dose. I'm sorry to... I monitor the people that are here. I'm not sure if you know. I don't know what circumstances Dr. Banerjee has you under, but some of my squad is here and requires regular treatment. And
are you just going to tell them everything?
I'm not going to tell them everything. I'm going to explain as to why I need to give you your treatment.
Would the two of you like the room for a little while? We can come back if it's an inconvenience at this point.
No,
No,
it just takes just a second.
I pull out my serum gun, and I'm just going to inject.
You have a hypodermic gun, and you load a vial into it,
I do.
and you inject it into the armor, and you feel a rush. What did you just give Agent Mirren?
I am giving Agent Mirren a cocktail of focus and endurance. So something I'm hoping will make her senses more acute, and her strength and ability to take pain increase.
You've been administering a lot recently, but Agent Mirren, I just need you to make a single endurance check. No dice of difficulty are added to this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's 5 degrees of failure.
Well, you do have a pool of,
Yes.
of communal competency points plus your own. Would you like to use some of those to prevent this from being a catastrophic failure?
I think I have to.
You don't have to do anything, but the choice is yours.
No, I will go ahead and, ouch. I'm gonna go ahead and make this a wash.
We are in a research facility.
Yes,
Can I help by donating a competency point?
you may.
I would like to.
But that is the only one that you'll be getting for this game for being within that facility.
That's fine. I will give you that one. I'd rather have that be a success than a wash.
On individual research tasks, you may get additional bonuses, but that's the only competency point you're going to gain for this.
Got it.
All right. So you have 4 competency points that you've spent then, correct?
Yes.
All right. It's a wash.
Oh, wait, we're gonna make it.
You're going to spend 1 to make it a success. I
Yes.
apologize.
Yeah,
So
so
you spend 5.
one success, and I will
5
spend
plus
5.
the 1 is 6 total. So with that many competency points being spent, you feel a rush, and it is successful. You are more focused, you are alert, and your paranoia hasn't gotten the best of you. It's kept at bay, though you do feel this nagging sense of someone watching you from somewhere that you can't see. It keeps you a little on edge, but it's nothing that you can't handle.
So since your subject, Dr. Hayworth, is also our guest, for lack of a better word, it would be good to have a bit of a download about the being that you call Icarus and the one that calls herself Cain.
I know. Isn't that interesting? The name. That's an extraordinary breakthrough. In such a short amount of time, you and your group have arrived, and Subject Icarus has exhibited a whole new curiosity. I'm going to need the subject to be isolated, and I will greatly, greatly appreciate any further tampering. This research, again, is very delicate, and if outside forces were to infect our research, it would become catastrophic to the work that we're doing here.
Doctor, if I may.
Yes.
Since we seem to be the unit that's going to be stationed here, and Icarus is in my data file, and I also have access to Icarus, and
You have, I'm certain, constrained access to the information of the subject that is present on this facility, just so that you were aware of what you were dealing with.
It just seems prudent for us to use all the resources that we have and to combine them. I mean, the more brilliant minds that we have working on the subject, then the further we're going to go. I don't see why we have to be at odds and why we can't work together.
I don't believe that we are at odds. Are
Okay.
we, Special Agent in charge, Mirren?
Well, let us know about this being, about this subject. I mean, because otherwise,
you have the file.
beyond what's in this constrained information file, let us know what it is that you are specifically trying to do. Otherwise, I don't know. She might be allergic to peanuts, and we give her peanuts, and she ends
you
up
shouldn't be
dying
feeding
under
the
our
subject
care.
at all.
So,
Is that understood?
Not at all.
We will see to the care of the subject.
so you intend on coming back frequently? Is this going to be a daily thing, or
It will be daily.
Is there anything that we need to be aware of? Anything that we need to...
what are you trying to do with what you're?
You're
what are
not
you
new to
doing?
this. I hear that your skills are unparalleled, Agent Mirren, but I have to be honest. You know better than to ask too many questions about certain clearance levels. I can't tell you what you want to know, and I'm not going to do you the disservice of lying to you. You have the information that is declassified for your eyes. The rest of it is for me to deal with. I don't have any purview of your research. I know, Dr. Ramos, that you will be doing great work here. I understand that you have an outsider, Dr. Chevalier. Is that correct?
Yes, we do. We have a guest.
Fascinating. I've heard strange things about this hedge doctor. I'd like to know more, but I'm not going to do you the disservice of asking anything that's outside of the classifications that you've been restrained with. That's how we work. That's how Nero continues to keep things safe and secure.
Are we Nero anymore? Do you have a tracer in your neck?
No. We've been in the wild, hanging in the wind for some time now.
Are there other units other than yours and ours?
Yes. Up to you.
Should we be expecting them?
No. They are operating at different sites, completely removed from us. This facility was best outfitted to be able to handle the subject and any high sensitivity subjects. There may be future subjects that are brought here as well. You are effectively sitting upon our most secure location. Now, you have control of the laboratories, but the containment units, we will have some say over those. Otherwise, we'll stay out of your way. I will not impose myself on your research, but if there's something that you wish to bring to me that isn't outside of my clearance level,
Oh no, I think
I'm happy
we're-
to help you.
I think we're just fine. We won't. If we need a extra pair of eyes, there are a number of people walking around here. But thank you for offering your expertise.
You're quite welcome.
Doctor, is there a way, in case, while you're away, a discovery is made that might be worth sharing? Is there a way that I can reach you
There,
outside of face-to-face conversation?
yes, there are a number of satellite radios that you have access to. You've already probably used them to speak with Dr. Banerjee and some of the other administrative staff that are currently working to better our situation out here in the wild. Of course, as you know, the security of these communications can't be entirely ensured, so they're infrequent. But between us, you'll be able to find me. I'll make sure that you have all of the appropriate codes to be able to reach the right frequencies.
Thank you. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Anything that we can do to aid you, we're here to assist you. We are all on the same side, I assure you.
Well, I'm satisfied.
Are you?
Well, I mean, not usually.
Well, Dr. Hayworth, what was the word that you used? Fascinating. It's been fascinating.
Indeed. I wish you both well, and I hope that you settle in as best as possible under these circumstances. I can only imagine how difficult it's going to be to keep the area clear. So, again, you have my radio frequency if you need any help.
And you have ours. You can give a quick little blip blip before you show up, so we know, just make sure everything's all square.
I can do even better than that, Agent Marin. We'll be arriving at 0500 hours every single day. Like clockwork.
That
You can
is
expect us.
early.
It's going to be early.
Mm.
This is a little irregular today, simply because we were waylaid. If that happens again, you have my word. We'll radio before we arrive.
You just said something that just caught my attention. You said something about keeping the area clear.
Well, this facility, as secure as it may be, isn't, as it were, an island unto itself. You have concerns. I'm sure that you've already been debriefed and understand what you're dealing with.
I'm sorry to boggle you down with questions, but was there another unit here before ours arrived? In the position that we are now in?
You don't know.
Enlighten us.
There was another unit here.
And what happened to them?
They didn't make it.
What happened to them? Specifically, Doctor?
There was widespread infection. A mutation unlike anything that we've currently encountered. They were working as an extraction team for a base, some sort of swarm of the dead, one that seemed to be showing some signs of lacking other words, I suppose, civilization.
As in, they talked.
So you are informed of the mutations.
Yes, we are being caught up.
And you understand why it would be dangerous to have one of them walking around your facility outside of a cell, unmonitored.
There are risks with everything we do.
You call it risk, I call it absolute insanity.
Is that what caused the downfall of the previous group?
Because the way that I'm feeling, absolute insanity is taking a powerful little being and not treating them like they're human. Because then they don't treat you like they're human. Now, I don't have empathy for these creatures or feral children or anything like that, but I do respect what they can do. And I'm just gonna guess here, I'm guessing that at the base before, they probably locked up whatever it is that you're scared of, and then that thing went wild in its cage and then bust out and killed everybody. How close am I to the mark here?
That's incorrect.
Is it?
One of the doctors started to administer infection amongst the group through the boosters that they were giving to the soldiers there. They were experimenting on the very people that they were meant to be serving alongside. One of the doctors decided that things weren't progressing fast enough. Either that or someone did something to their mind. What they did is they infected every single specter. You ever hear of anything like that, Dr. Ramos?
I couldn't even imagine why someone would do such a thing.
But in your personal experience, would it be hard to do that if you chose to? Infect a unit?
We could probably do a multitude of things with the serums that we have.
As the overseeing medical officer within a unit, you could spread the bile amongst those that you're serving with.
A really interesting, unorthodox experiment. Is that why you don't have someone of my position in your squad?
Agent Marin, you were very clear on what you were saying earlier, but I do wish to make, and again, I understand you yourself are not of a scientific mind. You are well respected in your military mind, but I'd like to point out to you that you are gravely mistaken in one section, one that I couldn't, in good consciousness, leave and not correct you on. That girl is not human. If you treat her like one, you're all going to die. That is something entirely different.
So you're not treating yours like they're human.
They aren't the same thing.
They kind of seem the same thing.
No. Icarus can stop all of this. That thing that you're playing dress up with, she's like the queen bee in a swarm. You're standing in the middle of a beehive, Agent Marin, and you're holding on to the queen. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, if we're going to get into nature talk, then when you have the queen captured and whenever you move her wherever she's going to go, the rest of the swarm follows. So I will keep that in mind. If anything, the worst possible thing is trying to fight your way through a swarm to get to a queen bee. But if you already have one, well, then that's half the battle right there. I'm surprised the doctor doesn't know nature. I mean, isn't that what's you're supposed to do? You're supposed to know all like the nature and the science and stuff?
Are there other queens?
What you have will destroy you if you're not careful. And you can mock me all you like. If you give it enough time, and you give her the freedom that she's currently enjoying, I guess I'll have the same conversation in a few weeks with someone else.
Thank you for the warning.
The doctor stands and walks out. Dr. Remy, you've been moving through the hallways and you do notice Spectre agents that you haven't seen before. They don't stop you, they don't interfere with you, but they watch you closely. And as you step into one of the hallways, you see the young woman that you've come to know as DT walking away from you at a very brisk pace.
Hey, DT. And I'm trying to walk up behind her, but also trying to get her attention, so I'm not sneaking up on her.
DT will slowly turn to her.
Hey, are you doing okay? I mean, we're not okay, but
I'll be fine once I'm out of here.
listen, I just had a talk with one of the doctors here, and I think I would have said the same thing myself, but I don't know where I would go. Where would you go back to? Do you have family out there? Or where are you going?
I just have my sister. I'll find my sister and we'll find a way.
Okay. Did they tell you could leave? Did they do what they promised? Did they lock your doors or anything like that?
No, they left it open. Agent Mirren said I could leave whenever I want. There's just the doctor.
Yeah, I don't know why they have... Well, I do know. Do you know what they're doing here? Have they explained that to you?
They're doing what they always do. They're just picking people apart until they find something.
Yeah.
They're never gonna find what they want.
I think they're looking to help people, but they're not doing it in a great way. They took everyone from me. And now they want me to join them and help them. And I don't know. I don't know. I just thought I'd find you and make sure you're okay, because I feel like you're the only person here that's not part of this group. How old are you?
I don't know anymore. I don't know how long I was in there.
You seem so young to be going through this, and I'm sorry for that. Look, do you want to stick together and, I don't know, try to make it through this? I know they promised you things, they promised me things, but I can't tell who's lying anymore. I don't have anyone else.
I just want to find my sister. If that's alright with you.
Yeah.
Just don't get in my way.
I wouldn't. If you want to leave, you can leave, but how are you going to find your sister? Why haven't you been able to find her before?
I was locked in their facility. I just woke up and I couldn't remember a lot. I just know she's not there. She's the one piece I have.
Okay.
Then they brought me here, and I know the girl they're keeping, Kane.
Kane?
She was my friend before.
Oh.
I don't think she's going to come.
Did I see Kane when I came in?
Briefly.
Okay. Well, can Kane leave? I thought...
They're not going to let her leave.
Do you know why?
They're not going to let their little pet leave.
Do you want to go talk to Kane?
I can't, but I think their mind is made up.
To not go with you.
They're going to listen to whatever the doctors say. We can try. Maybe if you're there, she'll listen to you.
I mean, I don't know them, but we can go check on them if that's what you want. I don't... Anyway, I lost track of what we're doing here. I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be on your side if I can be, and I don't know what's happening here, but I think there's something... There's new people here, and there's new soldiers here that the people who brought me here didn't know. So it seems like there might be something happening, or we might have to leave at some point anyway. So just be ready. I just wanted to warn you. And if we need to bring your friend Kane, we can figure it out.
Thank you.
Meg hasn't moved off your shoulders and is pulling closely to you and is shaking.
What? Hey, what's the matter? Hey.
Is hiding from DT behind you.
Okay, all right. Sorry, this is my friend's monkey. Name is Meg, and it's
doesn't want to be brought out. Keeps crawling across your back.
What's wrong with that thing?
I don't know. It's not mine. It's my friend. My friend. They're all gone. This is all. Okay, all right. Jesus Christ. And I
hisses at you, DT.
Maybe it smells something weird. I don't know. It's a monkey. Monkeys don't make any sense. Be quiet. All right, let's go see your friend Kane. That's the least we could do, especially if things start getting weird. Is that okay?
Yes.
The two of you have a short walk down a number of those corridors, and you see the young woman in her cell. Kane, what are you doing?
I've been reading this passage over and over again, just trying to... Reading it is one thing, understanding what it's saying is something else. And that's...
I think your comprehension is not where your ability is right now.
It's
like
a
you're
hard
able
connect.
to, yeah. Certain words do connect, and you know it's about death and about the acceptance of it, but you don't know what it means other than that.
Yeah. I think I can kind of feel this connection strengthen and weaken depending on, like, I can feel when DT enters a room.
Getting closer, of course. It's stronger on DT's part as
Yeah.
far as being able to kind of sense you, but it is for you. It's like a breeze washes into the room, and you know instinctively that they're close before you even look up.
Yeah, and I just look up and I see DT and then see someone beside her and say, "Wow."
Hey.
Hi.
I'm DT's friend.
She says hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
There are 2 Romeros in glass cells on either side of this hallway, kind of flanking where this young woman's cell is. And they're just standing there, staring at this young woman, sort of passively swaying as if they were in a trance.
Okay. Why are there Romeros in here? What's this about?
Speaks out loud. They're sick.
Okay.
They're not just sick. They're just who they are. They're waiting for me to get them out of here.
Lots of people today. Hi.
Hi. Are you okay in there?
Yeah.
Do they let you out?
Sometimes I've walked some places. That's nice.
Do you want to walk places more often than sometimes? Because this looks like a cage to me.
Oh. Two voices louder than one, huh?
I'm just asking. I don't know you. I just met DT, but DT says that you are her friend, and I wanted to make sure you were okay.
Who are you?
Oh, my name is, just call me Remy. I'm from kind of far away, actually. But I was brought in. I'm not part of this project, these people.
You're not a doctor or a scientist or...
Well, ironically, yes, I am a doctor, but I wasn't trained by these suited armored people. I'm not part of this group. I'm from outside. From the world.
So you could help.
Help what?
Well, I've had to stay here because I need help from doctors, and I understand that.
Sure, but what do you need help with? What's wrong with... What do you want to fix?
I want to remember things. And they say it's safe here, and it's not safe out there.
That could be true. It is dangerous outside. I've lost a lot of people out there. But I don't know what this is. I want to take a look at the plexiglass that's surrounding Kane's room. Are there doors? Are there locks? What does it look like, security-wise?
Well, there is a lock on the door itself. It's much like the touch locks that are on some of the other facilities. This one seems to be activated. There are no other windows, no other doors. This is on the far end of the hallway. It's a dead end.
I just feel like you're different than the other people in here, so I'm not sure why you're locked up like this.
Yeah, I guess I've never thought about that too much.
The people who run this place, I need you to both understand they're dangerous, and even if they mean well, they've killed many, many people, and they'll do whatever they can to get what they want. So even if they're nice to you, don't forget, they will get rid of you, or they will trap you, or they will imprison you at their will to get what they want. And I don't know how to help you right now. I can't break this wall apart. I can't do too much. I'm just me, but I can try to figure out what's going on at least. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd really like that. I kind of takes a look around the room, almost as if checking to see if anyone's listening. Just very strange. Not something that she's really considered having to do before.
Not that you can tell, okay?
I've never really thought about needing to go or being in trouble here or what they might want, but today, I don't know, there's been a lot of things that have happened that have made me wonder that a lot of new things. So, yeah.
Okay. I know it's scary to experience a lot of new things at once. But sometimes those new things can be bad too. And I get the feeling that you both are. You don't understand the world that the world the way that I do, and the bad things that can happen yet. Maybe you do, DT. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know that much about you two. I'm just trying to say, be careful. Don't believe everything you hear here.
I'm not scared, but thank you.
Okay. DT, I'm gonna go back to the other doctors. I need to ask more about Kane and about your situation and figure out why they have you here in the first place.
Okay. Are we still going to leave if it's time?
If it's time, we'll find each other, okay?
Okay.
Agent Mirren, Dr. Ramos, the unit, having done what they came here to do, collects themselves and leaves. What do you do?
Okay, I don't like this.
No, there isn't much to like about it, is it?
No, not at all. I wanted to leave Project Nero, not to go back to something else that was just another version of it. That's even more secretive.
I am a soldier. I am a soldier that is all about making the world a better place. That is the bottom line. I am not a warden for beings that, what, I'm going to have to play keep away now? That wasn't part of my job description. That isn't what I signed on for.
Mirren,
I'm all about bringing teams together, not separating people. That never works.
I like this. I like what you just said, and I think we need to have a different kind of conversation with Dr. Remy and with our guests, because as a scientist, as a researcher, I am fascinated by what's here and by these, I don't even want to call them subjects anymore, but there's
assets.
Yes.
They're assets.
There's something about Dr. Mirren, about Dr. Remy, that
I like
is
the name of Dr. Mirren.
I know you would. I'm so sorry to insult you in such a horrible way, but the way that she does what she does is different from any of the scientists or any of the doctors that I've ever known in our institution.
Don't get too attached, though,
No,
Vicky.
I'm not.
I know how you get. And
But Mirren,
never
you just said bringing teams together.
bringing teams together, but being completely honest with yourself about what those members of that team do. Do you think Remy is here because she wants to be here? No.
Are you
Which
here now
means-
because you want to be here?
Well, as soon as you synthesize that antidote, I will figure that out on my own.
So it looks like a
Dr.
lot of people
Ramos,
want to get out of here.
Before you hadn't given Mirren all the information regarding the antidote. Is that something that you're prepared to do now?
Not yet.
All right. When you need further information, just ask.
I want to come with me to the lab.
Vicky, I told you I read that report about the nest and what that report said and the things that you can't remember happening.
Uh-huh.
Did anything spark your recollection when Dr. Hayworth was giving you those what-if scenarios?
No. Here's what I do know. What I do know is that I've been blindly in the service of Dr. Banerjee because I've been having the carrot of freedom dangled in front of me. And I don't want to be a scientist in a cage. And I don't want to be stuck in a cave doing research. And I found my way to be out in the field. And so I did. I went out there.
You almost died in the field by yourself.
But I'm not dead.
You see Dr. Remy approaching on one of the monitors on the wall.
We need to go. We need to have all of us speak our minds as we should have been doing all along. And I'm going to head towards
How soon can you synthesize that antidote, Vicky?
How soon can I synthesize that antidote?
How much information do you want right now?
I want all of it.
Make an advanced science roll, please.
That is 1 degree of success.
That's enough for me to tell you that it's just not one dose. And it's going to take, likely, 48 hours to synthesize a single dose. If this neurotoxin can be fully and permanently neutralized, it's going to take multiple administrations, all of which are going to require constant synthesization here within this space. You have a chain around your necks that you can't see, and it was intentional.
I will convey all of that. Your first dose will start today.
No matter how paranoid you are never paranoid enough.
Question. The first dose will be available 48 hours from now, or is there a dose that could be available today?
I'm assuming that you've been working on it for 24 hours.
Yes,
we'll say that, tomorrow will be the first dose. And there's no sign that this neurotoxin works quickly. You don't know exactly how quickly it would act, but you imagine that once symptoms begin to manifest, they will rapidly increase. You probably have a buffer of 2 days, 3 days maybe, outside of that, so maybe 5 days total between doses. Anything more would probably be lethal.
Got it. So that's where we're at. You want out? You want your freedom?
Oh, wow.
That's what it's gonna take.
Dr. Banerjee.
He knew what he was doing.
Didn't he, though? Didn't he just? Well, you know what? I don't like being backstabbed. I don't like autonomous squads. I don't like doctors trying to tell me what to do on what was supposed to be my own turf. You are going to synthesize this antidote. Going to give me all those injections and everything like that. I need 2 things from you, Vicky. Well, 3. But the 2 that are just the important things. 1, I'm going to need a serum that muffles senses and ups subservience. I need for someone to be very susceptible to command and not very aware of their surroundings while they're following that command.
You want me to synthesize something that will be a detriment to someone else?
Yes.
Remy walks in the door.
And the second thing that I will need from you, well,
Having a meeting.
It's always a meeting.
Did you find out what happened with the...
As the other Spectre unit vacates the facility per your security cameras, I'm giving myself 30 risk. You may continue your conversation.
Good news or bad news, then? Do we have to leave?
We don't have to leave. We have to stay, it seems. And continue to follow orders that we're not totally clear on. Agent Mirren, it might be a good idea if you convey to one of your soldiers to make sure to have their eyes on cameras. I don't trust this group that's leaving. Maybe we should keep our eyes open.
Stick my head out the door. Alpha 5, can you send your second in command to make sure that our guests speedily leave? They will be coming back 0500 every day to check on Project Icarus.
Copy that, ma'am.
But you stay right there, looking good in the hallway. And I go back into the room with the two of them.
The circumstances that are keeping us
And
here.
kick the desk. Just kick it.
Well, I should have seen that coming.
And flip the chair.
I should have seen that coming. I get another chair and I hand it to Agent Mirren. If you...
Motherfucker!
Bad news.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just no. This is happy times. This is the circus is in town right now. That's why I'm happy. That's why I got the smile on my face, Dr. Remy. What, you're not happy being trapped into your circumstances?
It's not yet clear what is keeping Dr. Remy here, unless you know something we don't. But we all have something that's keeping us here, in a sense.
Well, nothing's really keeping me here except that I have nowhere else to go.
Right.
I spoke with the some of the people you have here that are either free or not free, but DT and the other one, the glass cage.
Icarus.
Kane.
Right.
Interesting. Why are they being held?
You think I know?
I can answer some of that.
Sure.
I can tell you what I think. What is truth might very well be quite different. Some of us that worked for Project Nero felt constrained, felt that there were advancements that could be made more quickly than what their parameters were allowing. And Dr. Banerjee, who is running this entire thing, orchestrated, essentially, for some of us to splinter off. We've had our trackers removed. We're here, completely rogue. Separate from that group that you saw.
But still under the thumb of the person running it.
Yes, which is not what I was expecting, but I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. My understanding is that who you know is Starburst. And
SB47. Starburst?
Starburst.
Starburst.
That's what she calls herself.
Those pharaohs always call themselves
She has a
something.
name, she's a person.
I name people. I just haven't heard it from them.
Just as Kane.
All I know, you made up the name. It's a fucking candy.
Right. So Starburst, Kane, and other subjects that are here are keys to something that I have yet to totally understand, but my impression was that we were here wanting to synthesize a cure, wanting to better understand the way that this virus is mutating, and I was okay.
To make a better world, to make a safe world. That is what we are supposed to do.
Right.
That is what the prime directive is.
Right, but it seems like everyone just wants to be in control, and they just seem to want to have all the cards and have power. And no matter who is calling the shots, that seems to be the thing that they're ultimately concerned with. And we're all just pawns.
Each and every one of us trapped in a different way.
So we're stuck here. And I think that we need to figure out how to work together. I don't want to be here under these circumstances.
Well, we're agreed on that. But there's something strange about what's going on with said Icarus. Kane seems normal, seems fine.
No.
But there's Romero's and the undead are caged directly next to her. Is she turning? Is she infected? Or with?
I want to pull up Kane's file, Icarus, on my data pad.
You do so.
I've reviewed this many times, but I want to look at it to see if there's anything I might have missed.
It's very mundane. It gives you the baseline biological functions of the individual that everyone is now calling Kane. Project Icarus seems to be normal. All of the biological data that's impressed into this file seems to tell you there's nothing extraordinary about them. She is just a person undergoing some trial experiment, but you don't know what the parameters of that experiment are.
They seem to be withholding that information from me.
And it seems the other one, DT, the one who's not locked up.
Oh, that one speaks to the dead.
What was that?
Well, at least she thinks that she does.
She believes that...
You were on the helicopter with us, too. You saw me had to take out my brother, Delta 7.
I guess I just don't
You were in shock.
believe any of this.
The way that
She
little
thinks-
one acted with it, she steadfastly believes that she talks to the dead and that they listen to her.
And she was fully expecting to be locked up, just as Kane is.
I think...
I'm not in the business of locking people up. I'll shoot someone in the head. That's just a given.
Well,
I'll
listen,
kill someone.
DT and Kane are somehow connected, and DT thinks that all Romeros are just sick. So
She thinks that
whether
we're all-
that's true or not, I don't know how to deal with that information, but she
Well,
wants to leave.
It's time for me to have a conversation, I think, with TT. And I would like for us all to be there. We all
I'm
need to
fine
be.
with that. Since, mommy has left the building, let the children play.
With that, I'm going to start to head to Kane.
All of you go along. You move through the hallways. The researchers have gone about their business. Things have returned to whatever state of normality you may assume is present within this underground complex. There is a tension in the air, but other than that, work is being done as it should be expected to be done. You make your way through the tight corridors, and eventually you see DT standing in front of Kane's cell.
What the hell? One thing where it's like, this was the off limits area. But you know what? It doesn't even matter anymore, does it?
Well, you want everyone to be able to be free. There's no off limits then.
They're
No,
friends.
there were two areas, the labs and here. But you know what? I'm not a warden. I'm not.
They're friends.
Good.
Hi. We have not had a lot of time together, but unfortunately we're going to need to speed things along. DT, we've met before. I'm Dr. Victor Ramos. I understand that you want to leave and that you're looking for your sister.
Yes.
I'm going to pull up my data pad and see if I can find anything on her sister.
There's no data regarding anyone named Sugar.
Do you know the name of the place that you might have been found?
Or the last place that you were,
The
that you saw
facility.
her?
No, we were out together. We were out there.
Do you recall the name of any doctor or scientist that was in charge of you?
Or if you were in a home, your home's place, your name of your home?
You remember Babylon, and you remember Father. But although it's all hazy now, I don't know how much you trust these people. It's up to you. as to what you share.
I'll relay just the name. There was a place we moved to. It's called Babylon, but we were only there for a little while.
I look up Babylon in the data pad. There's nothing here.
All this biblical stuff, it feels like it reminds me of something, but I don't know what.
Okay, were there more people like you there at Babylon?
No.
Were there a lot of they're called revenants. Were there a lot of revenants there? A lot of the dead, the moving dead?
Yes. They kept them there. They would lock them up. They would try to do studies. Father was there too. There was others. Like Cain was there. Cain was a part of that team.
I turn to Cain. Cain, do you remember Babylon?
I want you to make a morale roll. What is your morale currently?
Let's take a look. My morale is a 6, I believe.
All right. So go ahead and roll your percentile dice.
Okay.
You have a 60% chance of success.
That's a 42. So.
You succeed. Something like panic rushes through you for a moment, and you don't know why, but it immediately goes away as you get these flashes of a camp, an old Christian camp, where the dead weren't held, but roamed free and were working fields and gathering the living and holding them in pens like cattle. And it all just sort of washes over you like a bad dream and then stops.
I have heightened senses right now. Is there a roll that I can do to make sure, to just check that?
Detect motives.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had forgotten that you had that. I will say you can't, yes, this is all based on sight though.
Okay.
Because you are still within your armor.
Well, I have a 55 normally. I rolled a 34, plus I have the heightened. Before, when I've done this, I've gotten an extra 20%.
That's fair, so it's 4 degrees of success.
Yeah.
That's more than enough. You definitely are clocking everything that's going through Kane's mind. You can't obviously read Kane's mind, but she is undergoing something very painful. It's a memory, and it's just a fleeting moment, and it seems to end in confusion.
Okay, but it's like the actual stature and everything still seems like the person that I've been viewing this entire time.
That's an interesting question, and you don't know.
I was just thinking from like a soldier's point of view when someone is...
They're compromised, that you know, but is it the same person, or is it like a different personality? It's hard for you to tell from here.
Sorry. What was your question?
I asked about Babylon.
You work with Dr. Hayworth, right?
In a sense.
Hell no!
In a sense, Agent Mirren does not. I don't work with Dr. Hayworth directly, but I am a doctor here. But I am my own person.
I remember it.
Okay, well that's good, but I know it's hard for you. You seem like you're just remembering it right now. Is that correct? Okay. Take some time and think about it, but that can help us maybe find DT's sister, if we can figure out where that was or anything about it.
Your sister's...
Bracelets. Friendship bracelets. Letters, colorful. You didn't know what they meant then, but now you can read them. Sugar. A jacket. A vest. Patches. Something important to you. A bloody baseball bat. A man. Dark features. Tentacles writhing from his face. DT, you're seeing all of this. Right alongside Kane. And something's happening now. Kane doubles over as all of this starts washing back painfully into her mind. You're feeling it all, but something inside of you, something primordial, is awoken. I need you to make an endurance check. Mirren, make a detect motives.
That's 1 degree.
Yeah, 1 degree of success.
I got a 61 out of the 75.
It's good enough. You've been keeping a close eye on all of this. The others, the doctors, are clearly engaged in what Kane is doing. Out of the corner of your eye, you see DT stumble, just barely. And she's standing there, and it's almost as if she's nauseous, the way that she's acting. DT, what do you do?
I'm going to place my hands on the glass. I'm going to start banging, trying to get Kane's attention.
Kane can't hear you. You'll have to do it some other way.
Is everything okay? What's going on? TT.
How can we help?
DT's going to try to gain control into her mind, if she can right now.
You can. I'd like for you to make a leadership roll. It's command.
Command.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
26, that's
26 of 55, so like 2, 3. Yeah.
It's 3 degrees of success. You have competency as well, as if you'd like to spend them. You could make it 5 degrees of success and make it automatic.
How many competency points do I need to spend?
You have 5 currently. You'd only need to spend 2.
Okay, I'll spend them.
You spend 2 competency points and immediately you take control. You and Kane, you sort of exist in the same space, but you have control. Do you know what that means, DT?
Means I control what she does.
Yes. What are you having Kane do?
DT's going to ask Kane to get out. Try to get out.
Kane was doubled over, and the moment that this happened went still, then straightened with her face blank. At that request, Kane turns to stare at the plexiglass.
Kane, you can hear everything outside of the plexiglass, and you can see through DT's eyes.
Lifts up a fist and just slams it into the plexiglass.
The glass shatters outward,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
exploding in front of all of you. You can make dodge rolls to try to lessen the shards of this bulletproof glass.
I'm in the new suit of armor.
You are.
Yeah.
I am too.
So, I'm still need to do a dodge roll for that with this.
It's
new
up to you. If
experimental
you wish to
armor.
just stand, you can.
Well, I'd prefer to take a different action.
You can. Absolutely.
I've been watching DT this entire time,
Yes.
and the stumbling, and then I'm guessing there's like some heavy eye contact. I see the blank face.
Something's happening.
That now, I'm gonna go after DT.
How do you do that?
Okay, I'm gonna try to knock her out with the butt of my gun.
All right. So you do need to make a dodge roll, not
Okay.
because you're going to be damaged, but because it might blow you back.
Okay.
The force of all this shrapnel shooting through the air may prevent you from doing that very clearly. So make your dodge roll. What was your action, Victor?
I'm now going to dodge and back up, away from being within reach of Kane.
You just have to make the dodge roll then.
Great.
What about you,
Does
Doctor?
the suit give us any bonuses?
The suit that you have on
Yeah.
currently, it gives you bonuses when you're defending against damage.
Got it.
Currently, you're just trying to get out of the way. It's easier. It's not giving you any further penalties to
Got
what
it.
you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Remy, what are you doing?
I had 4 degrees of failure. I'm going to spend all of my 4 competency points to get a wash there. And I'm trying to move towards DT because I don't realize this is like what's actually happening. I'm trying to protect DT from the plexiglass as well.
Okay. Well, with a wash, you're going to be very slow about that. Go ahead and roll me 2 blue dice. Everyone who's taking movement actions outside of the glass can also roll 2.
It's 10.
Okay, so you're definitely going to be going last.
Yeah.
How did you do, Mirren?
Well, with my dodge roll?
Your dodge roll, I need to know, but I also want you to roll 2 blue
Okay.
dice for your speed.
Well, I gotta. Does the booster that I have? What are the stats that affects?
The booster is going to give you an additional 20% right now.
Okay, so then
You remember, you cannot surpass 75%.
no, it's 65.
Okay.
It's 4 degrees of success.
Okay, but do roll the 2 blue dice. You absolutely are able to do what you've said you were going to do. I just need to know the speed at which you do it.
Okay.
Ramos,
I got 5 degrees of failure on my dodge.
Oof.
do you have enough competency to fix that?
I don't. I have enough to lessen it. So I have, I'll put 2 and make it 3 degrees of failure so it's not catastrophic.
You
I
said
will
something
put
earlier.
1.
Mm-hmm.
You said you put the suit on.
Yes.
I'm going to assume that you intended to put the helmet on as well.
Yes,
correct?
I put the
All right,
entire thing on.
Great. What were you saying?
Okay.
The
The
bra?
exploding on the blue is at 6 or 5.
6. So it's the
Okay.
H. Whenever you roll the H, you roll it again, and it counts as 5.
Counts as
It
5.
counts as 5.
Yeah, you just keep adding 5s when you roll
Okay,
it.
so then it's 15.
Okay, and then how did you do on your speed die?
3.
Okay, so the first thing that happens is Victor hits the ground as shrapnel blows him back. You're not really harmed, but your armor does have shards of this ballistic plastic embedded into it. It was extremely forceful. If you'd been out of your armor, it could have been deadly. Now, you don't have armor on, do you?
No.
And you
Got a wash.
got a wash, but more importantly, your speed was a 10.
Yes.
DT, can you please roll 2 blue dice for me?
Yes. Roll again.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
So you're going last also.
Okay, so 15, 21?
Yeah. 21.
You're so deeply enthralled in this moment where you're connected that you don't know the world outside. In fact, that's so utterly slow that as this explodes outward, the only thing that prevents you from being coated in these shards of glass is the body of Dr. Remy, who throws herself in front of you as her back is pelted and you smell the warm iron of blood as it sprays across the room. Kane's white jumpsuit is splattered like some sort of Rorschach test. As the doctor drops down on you, shards of plastic start hitting you in the face, and you feel not warmth, but that cool ooze of black bile as it works down your cheek. DT turns, and you can see the ruin that half of her face now is. Dr. Remy is lying on the ground. Kane, you're still standing there, your fist out. From the side of DT's face, 3 tentacles emerge outward and start to spread from the wound as Agent Mirren steps forward with the butt of her rifle out. And that is where we're going to end our story tonight.